on my way down to the courthouse. But look at that, what somebody's put up there. I don't know, I think Ivanka, I have a positive opinion of Ivanka Trump. I don't know what they want to lock her up for. Oh, the tax thing. They're saying she did something with the taxes. Well, we're going to have an opportunity to speak to Charles Ortel about that later today. We did have an extremely special guest planned. You know, Wednesdays, it's become sort of our... A lot of places closing right over here. Wednesdays become sort of our interview day, Charles Ortel closing in. But I think we're probably going to not do that. It'll be Charles and I talking about the debate, and we'll reschedule this guest for another day. Heading down to the courthouse now, 500 Pearl Street. So this is another lawsuit, not the lawsuit that I've been speaking about in the new show that premiered last night that takes viewers deep inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy. People can see that by going to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Moyoma, I think is the name of Momoya is preparing their curbside deal there. I think today is the first day in New York City for indoor dining at restaurants at 25% capacity. We also had some new announcements from Mayor Warren Wilhelm Jr., Bill de Blasio, that apparently now in certain zip codes within New York City, specifically zip codes in like Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and these heavy concentrations of Hasidic Jewish neighborhoods where there's been resistance to some of the social distancing stuff and wearing masks and things, and some of the religious practices have had people closer together than they might like with social distancing. Mayor de Blasio has now introduced these really, I don't even know what you'd call it, just sort of bizarre guidelines. I mean, you know, it's not a law. He needs to pass a law in order for the cops to enforce something. He's saying that if you're in these zip codes and you're not wearing a mask, there'll be these enforcement people, the track and trace people from New York Health and hospitals. So first you'll be offered a mask. Then you'll be told if you don't wear that offered mask that you'll be fined. And then if you refuse again, then you'll be fined. So it's nice that they're giving you all these chances to comply. But that's weird. That doesn't seem like the way enforcement of things usually works. I think normally there's a law, like, you know, it's illegal to shoot people or something. And if you're about to shoot someone, I don't think there's this offer of like, don't do it and we won't arrest you. I think it's either a law and you break it or it's not. So we'll have to see where this all goes. The thing that's crazy though is that de Blasio made it all contingent on cases, you know, new case numbers. If it was more than 3% per week, he was gonna close the schools and restaurants again. The guy is destroying the whole city. It's terrible. But I want to talk a bit more about this Lawfare case. Looks like, is this working? I think it is. So this is not the Robert David Steele v. Goodman lawsuit. This is Swigert v. Goodman, another protracted, vexatious legal battle that I've been drawn into that has no merit, totally designed to just waste my time, waste my resources. Very upsetting. Now this is interesting. So now they've got 25% indoor capacity, so it appears that this place is called Cafeteria. They've constructed this little sort of semi-covering, so this is still outdoor, and then LA style, they've got those heater lamps. So I guess through probably October, this should be good as long as it's not, you know, raining, and that'll help them offset. Oh yeah, they've got a nice amount of outdoor space. So it's good to see these restaurants fighting and struggling. Wow, look at how much graffiti is here. I think this was the bank. Wow. My God. I haven't been going out at night. There have been some reports of, since the Breonna Taylor verdict, or not the verdict, but the statements from Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General of Kentucky. I've heard reports of nightly activity. So what is this? What is that swirl with the arrow pointing to it? This used to be, this was a department store, that fancy department store. How can I not remember? Oh, Barney's. That was Barney's. So that's totally out. Not good for Barney's. This taxi is really dedicated to wanting to run people over. That's cool. Right, so Lawfare. So this is one of the multiple lawsuits that were intended to converge on me in multiple jurisdictions. I presume their thought process was I'd have to hire lawyers all over the place. Oh, I forgot. It's not good to wear collar shirts with this type of microphone. Sorry for the scratchy audio. But we had the first episode last night, taking people deep inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech. So I'm a little bit all over the place. I've got some court documents in my hand today. And also, you know, this is a new stabilizer that I purchased after Black Lives Matter broke the other one. And it seems to be not 100%. There we go. Okay, I guess you can't bump it. But that's new. That's not the way it used to work. Yeah, so these multiple lawsuits brought against me for essentially the same set of circumstances, same essential allegations. This one here, Swigert v. Goodman, this was originally brought in South Carolina. Perhaps we'll do a show about that. Maybe the whole deconstructing lawfare will just carry on. Some people were upset that it was made available to $5 and up Patreon sponsors. I want to remind people that the reason I'm doing this is, yes, to educate people about what specifically happened to me in this scenario, but it's also to recuperate the costs. And so this is just one video that's been, relegated to $5 and up. All the other videos are still going out to $2 sponsors. I believe $2 sponsorship is sold out right now on Patreon. So I apologize to people who don't like $5 per month as something of a constellation. And this is kind of good. Patreon has just initiated annual subscriptions. So people do have the option of signing up for a $5 per month subscription. And if you take the annual option, you save 16%. So that's like about $4 a month. And I apologize that that's more than $2. But again, I need to recuperate this money. It cost me thousands of dollars to fight these dopes. And if you agree that bringing frivolous and vexatious lawsuits against people endlessly is a good thing to do, then go watch some of those social engineering YouTube channels. If you want to help me stop them, pony up $5 a month and watch the show. You're also going to learn about what happened to me. I'm not offering legal advice. I'm not helping anybody with their legal cases, and I'm not suggesting that anybody do anything in particular. It's a little windy. Wow, look at all these places out of business. I think we've seen this before, but this is like an entire block out of business. I'm going to try to head a little bit west here, maybe get out of the wind somewhat. But yeah, I'm going to hopefully get another episode tonight. There's some changes happening to the schedule now. This guest rescheduled with Charles, so we'll have a walk around with Charles. And then I've got another guest booked for tonight who's got some really unique insight into what's going on in New York City public schools. Teachers have a lot to say about what the mayor and the governor have been doing. And, basically how little they know about how to run this place. Let's see if I can get out of the wind here. Oh, and I've got the comments with me right now, and it's daytime, so it should be all right. I must admit that I have less of a sense of terror than I used to walking around. Like during the day, it was always, initially it was pretty hectic. No GoFundMe, Eric the Viking. Basically, people can go to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth if they'd like to just send some financial sponsorship that way. Oh yes, I wanted to mention this. So on crowdsourcethetruth.com, there's all those counter Lawfare funding options, and I was offering annual subscriptions on Subscribestar, and they have been fulfilled. Many thank you to the numerous people who went to crowdsourcethetruth.com and have chosen to fund the counter Lawfare effort. I think there's one or two people who I haven't been able to send their annual subscriptions to. There was a little bit of a technical glitch with the third-party payment system that I was using for the annual subscriptions on Subscribestar. They had not yet implemented that. I did have a really good conversation with the fine people at Subscribestar last night, and they're in the process of making some minor changes that will we'll get rid of this third-party payment system and just deal directly only with Subscribestar. So that's going to be much better. If there's anybody who's out there who has sponsored the Counter Lawfare Fund on crowdsourcethetruth.com and has not yet received their annual subscription, I'm going to be rectifying all that tonight. But if you haven't heard from me, please send an email to truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org and we'll get that all straightened out. But, not talking about these cases is something that these guys want. They want to have the ability to abuse me in the court and in social media without me having any ability to respond, because that allows them to, do their thing. When I can talk to the audience and explain what's going on and have these kind of fundraising opportunities, that challenges their ability to financially destroy me. Let's see, what time is it here? The court closes very early. I found that out the last time I went in there to submit a document. Even though it says on the website they're open till 5, because of coronavirus, the court was closing, I think, at 1. So I want to get down there nice and early. And I thought it was a good opportunity to put out this live stream. And, I'm wearing a jacket today because the temperature said 59 degrees, but it's actually much warmer in the sun. It's kind of a beautiful day. Beautiful day, but I'm feeling a bit warm. More stuff for rent. I am guilty of sometimes taking the same path, and perhaps I'm forgetting what was closed the other day and what was not. Oh, it's Ricky's. Yeah, we've seen that closed a few times. Here on 6th Ave. Oh, now, you know what? I'm reminded there's a closed restaurant, apartment for rent up there. Okay, that might be Jean's. Yeah, there's a restaurant right over there that I really like that does appear to have some tables set up outside.
Like lower than average or really are still pretty good?
This was a gift shop, closed. Sammy's Noodle Shop, Chinese restaurant, closed. FedEx is delivering. Yeah, so Charles and I will be talking about the debate in our show later. We'll get into detail on that. I don't know that anybody was really swung one way or the other. I think if you like Trump, you liked it. I think if you liked Biden, you liked that. I would have liked to have seen the president maybe slow down his roll a little bit and let Biden trip himself up. But in the end, I think it was a net positive. Joe Biden had nothing to say about the allegations against his son. He flat out said that it was untrue, that his son got kicked out of the Navy for doing cocaine. And that's wrong. He did get kicked out of the Navy for doing cocaine. I don't know how Joe Biden could say that. See, now look at that. That thing just fritzed out and now it's back. All right, let's see what the comments are saying. Oh yeah, I got my thing in the mail. So this is saying you must postmark, apply online, or email a completed application for an absentee ballot by October 27th. shot of the World Trade Center there. All theater. Come on, man. 2 against 1. Exactly. Yeah, Chris Wallace. I love the come on, man. Shut up, man. Like, who says that to the President of the United States? That was not good. Lynn says it's all theater, right? Someone's noticing fresh piss on the steps. Chris Wallace is an idiot. I agree with that. Biden said, shut up, man. I was out of there, Chicky Rogue says. Yeah, I mean, the funniest, well, I want to save it for the conversation with Charles because he's got a lot of insights, I'm sure, and everybody always loves to hear what Charles has to say about these things. I'll tell you, my personal observation about Charles is that anytime I have ever felt like, oh no, something terrible just happened with regard to Trump, Charles will call and he'll be like, trust me, this is good. And I'm like, what? How could this possibly be good? And then he goes through some explanation, and by the end of the explanation, you're like, wow, I feel much better about it. So that is a very good aspect of Charles right there. Oh man, you know, see that? And this is definitely the new one. I'm gonna send this back. So, a couple things going on. A lot of people have been telling me that there are videos being made about the Robert David Steele lawsuit being dismissed. And it's real interesting. Oh no. I don't have any pets, but when did this go out of business? And they smashed it. And then this. I guess that's the same building. Waverly Diner is outdoor seating now. Lost the train of thought there. Emmy's lawsuit, that's coming up. Oh yeah, right, all the social engineers. So people are emailing me, oh, this person made a video about the Robert David Steele lawsuit. That person made a video. You didn't actually win. There's some technicality or something like that. Well, that's the spin they want to put on it. But none of those guys, first of all, have any clue what they're talking about. Second of all, and this is even more important, none of them were in the hearings. What's going on there? Kia with some crazy air scoops. I seem to recall Kia has some incredibly expensive, like, that's a Kia thing? Maybe that's it. People will know. So yeah, the usual cadre, and actually some new people too. Just when I was searching for Crowdsource the Truth on YouTube earlier, some things popped up. You know, now there's people making videos making fun of the bishop. It's strange to me that there's people who have sufficient time to do nothing but make videos about me. I mean, they're free to do it, obviously. They'll if I criticize them for making videos about me, they'll point out that I'm making videos about other people. So sure, they're free to do it, but I don't know. I mean, am I as interesting as people who are running for president and stealing money, and people who are running foundations? What is going on with this? People who are running foundations and stealing money, and also the things alleged in these videos are not true and generally poorly thought through. Man, this thing is just not stabilizing. Let's see if we can get it back in action here. Feel it vibrating. Yeah, so I mean, you know, that's fine. People can send me these videos. I don't necessarily have time to look at them. That's probably part of what they're trying to do, is just make a ton of videos to waste my time watching videos made by dopes who don't know anything about what's going on. Trust me, the case was not dismissed on a technicality. And we'll be getting into all the transcripts from the hearings. You know, last night was just the first episode. We did not even get through ECF number 1, electronic court filing number 1, the first item on the docket. There's over 215. So, all the details of what happened and why the thing got dismissed will come out through the course of the show. And again, it's my hope that people will learn a bunch of things about some diverse topics. Just give you an idea of what can happen in certain types of court cases, or in this particular court case at least. And, for people who find that useful and interesting, I think you're really going to like the show. Positive response to the show last night. I think a lot of people liked the parody image that was created. I'm sure Robert David Steele might not be one of those people, but there's a lot of parody videos that have been made about me that I don't like. I don't go suing every dope that makes them. I generally ignore them. We got a parody of one of the other dopes on the image for today, the court jester. Okay, I think it's back. Let's see what we got in comments here. It's a bit of a walk to get to the courthouse. And it's tricky, of course, when I'm by myself here and with these sunglasses, it's super hard to read the comments. So let's just see what's going on around me. And Chicky Rogue, thank you. Catherine M. says, that's a sign of a good lawyer trying to explain why he lost so bad to a guy defending himself. I don't know if the lawyer has made any videos. He generally stays off of YouTube. But there are people making videos who seem to have been in email communication with that lawyer and who had approached me saying, I don't like those guys anymore. I'm going to give you evidence. But, and this is all still part of it. I think that I got to send this back. I think that the way that this tactic is intended to work is sort of what I've dubbed a smash and grab. How come the camera won't turn back around here? Smash and grab is a robbery technique where, it is what it sounds like. You just smash this person with maximum force right away and then grab their stuff. This thing, it just keeps fritzing out and losing its stabilization. So by drawing them out for as long as I have, we're getting them to reveal more about their tactics, and we're exposing the network of individuals who are involved. They are, I guess, constantly trying to bring in new people. We've certainly seen that. Oh boy, this place smells like really good coffee. But it's a lot of the same players coming around and doing the same things. It's just obvious. I don't know who they think they're fooling. But that's another purpose of this series that I just started putting out last night on Subscribestar and Patreon, is to let people know what these individuals are up to, and everybody can form their own opinion after they see the information that I present, the transcripts from the court case, the evidence that was to be presented. Talk about, what I learned about the federal rules of evidence. The judge admonished me in July of 2019 and told me I better go read the federal rules of civil procedure and the federal rules of evidence, and that if I intended to just come in there with a pile of hearsay evidence and have her rule on it, that wasn't what was going to happen. So, but again, as the series goes on, I'm going to read these transcripts so that everybody can know what happened in these court cases, in the hearings. You'll be able to hear the transcript of what the judge said. These are transcripts that nobody has, not even the other side. Now, they were there, so perhaps they remember what was said, but maybe not, because they don't seem to be able to follow the judge's orders or do anything that they're told to do. So I'm not sure if that's because they're deliberately trying to defy the orders, or if they're just unable to process information and act on it. It's weird. I mean, nothing that they're doing seems to make any sense from the standpoint of not wanting to lose the case. So maybe they wanted to lose. Maybe the purpose is to just, bring all kinds of lawsuits against me. I've thought this before. I don't think they could possibly care about winning. They just want to keep suing me. And the SDNY court jester has even said that's his plan, to sue me, I think he said, for the rest of his life. I was going to go down the sidewalk here, but perhaps no. Yeah, I mean, everybody in the restaurant business has got to be hoping that the weather holds out for a couple more weekends. We're definitely getting dangerously close to the time in New York where it could get quite cold. It really was much cooler when I woke up, and I'm feeling sort of like the jacket was a mistake. Hey, here's the jerk hut. I could think of a bunch of people who should be under this thing. Oh, but Miss Lily's is here. Okay, so they're lucky enough to have a place out of business next to them that seems to allow them to use the sidewalk area. Just making my way down to the courthouse here. This is a bit of a circuitous route, but it is a beautiful morning. I didn't name this Ghost Town NYC because I'm kind of, keeping the Lawfare previews separate, although I guess we're sort of doing the same thing we normally do. Oh, whoa, look at that. Brigadeiro Bakery. I guess that's got to be, yes, a Brazilian bakery. Wow, I know somebody who would be very excited about that. I had previously been told that you can't make Brigadeiro in the United States. And actually, when you go to Fogo de Chao, they make a point of telling you that it's fake Brigadeiro. Of course, any of these Lawfare dopes would be like, oh, fake Brigadeiro, huh? How could it be fake Brigadeiro? There's a Brigadeiro right there. By fake, in that context, just as when I say fake lawsuits, I mean inauthentic, not true to the original purpose or composition. We spoke about Lawfare. There were some people who had a question of what Lawfare actually is. And keep in mind that Lawfare is simply using the law as a weapon against your enemies. Instead of using it for its intended purposes, like somebody wrongs you and you breach of contract or maybe actual defamation, which is frankly what these guys are doing, saying and doing things that they know are untrue. They're clever. I've spoken about this. They're clever about their defamation because they'll put the defamatory statements into a lawsuit couched as a complaint. And then they get these social engineering, YouTube and bloggers and whatever to report on their lawsuits as if it's news. And then, they're able to do that, to basically insert all this, faulty information into the public sphere and make it so that when people search for Jason Goodman or crowdsource the truth, you're finding reporting on these federal lawsuits. And the federal lawsuits that they've brought basically contain false or stupid information. And so they achieve their purpose of, injecting that information into the public discourse and creating doubt. It's interesting for me to see that there are some people who are saying, oh yeah, I remember this. I wasn't sure if you were on the level or they were on the level. And now some people's eyes are being opened. So again, that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this series, deconstructing Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy, so that people will know what's going on. These guys are trying to destroy my reputation, and they're doing it in a clever way. I can't, some of the same people that are telling you, oh, Jason didn't win the lawsuit, it got dismissed on a technicality. Those are the same people that have said they're going to sue me for making allegations about them in the lawsuit. Well, here's some free information, not legal advice. I'm not giving anybody legal advice, but you cannot sue someone for an allegation against you in a lawsuit, even if that allegation is untrue. Anything that I've alleged in the lawsuit that might be untrue, I think is true. It's on information and belief. I have alleged these things because I have ample information to cause me to believe that they're true. Unlike those guys who are constantly making allegations that they know are false, or perhaps that they've just made up out of nowhere, that there is absolutely no reason to believe might be true. And a lot of that is the reason why it got dismissed. So many places. out of business. Let's see the comments here. This is a beautiful day. I want to make sure I don't get hit by a car. That would end the stream early here. Should be penalties for a frivolous lawsuit, Lynn. I agree. And theoretically there are, but getting them enforced is extremely difficult. Cressy wants to defund the BBC. I agree with that. Eric the Viking is shouting frivolous, and I agree. Frivolous and vexatious. You know, keep in mind, these guys are bringing lawsuits in federal courts that are also hearing criminal trials and dealing with people who have actual important complaints, and they're wasting judicial resources. This costs money. There's people working at the court. There's a limited amount of time in the day. And I mean, someone could be, the judge even said, you know, when coronavirus came up, they're upset that there's people who are sitting in jail because they haven't had enough time to do their normal schedule of processing, you know, hearings. And then when they have to deal with this stupid stuff, nobody likes that. So, you know, people who want justice, even if you don't like me, you should be concerned about this type of, you know, frivolous waste. This gums up the civil justice system, the criminal justice system as well. It gums up the federal courts. These guys are using the federal courts as their own personal weapon. It's an abusive process. It's really not right. Broom and Sullivan. Wow. Look at all that graffiti. Why are these corner buildings getting bombed like crazy? A lot of people have been emailing me that they're looking at, you know, some of the videos from last year, and they're looking at Google. Like, who's going to rent this? They got to clean this thing up, but why clean it up now? It's just going to get tagged up again, bombed with graffiti the next night. Is today the first day of indoor dining?
That's what it's supposedly going to happen.
But they're threatening that they're gonna stop it, right? Because it's too much.
Not, or I don't know, whatever is better for the city. You know,
They just keep changing it every day.
Yes, bro.
All right, good luck. That's funny. They had a Sapporo beer thing inside there, but it seems to be a Mexican restaurant. Not a lot of traffic right now, given the time of day. I mean, what is it, like 11:30 or something? Oh, 11:33. So we've been down here many times. I gotta head sort of further to the west to get to the courthouse. Yes, exactly. Who's going to pay to clean the mess up? Well, the owners of the buildings are going to have to pay because they want to rent that stuff, and you know, they're not thinking about that. They think this is a victimless crime. But what if you own that building and you can't rent it, and then you default on the mortgage and you go broke and you lose your own house and your life falls apart and your family breaks up, or who knows, people committing suicide? These are not victimless crimes. These are not peaceful protests. You can't destroy stuff and graffiti stuff and call that peaceful. Just because you're not, you know, punching somebody or lighting them on fire, that doesn't necessarily mean you're peaceful. I mean, this is not even good graffiti. This is just, I mean, not that it would be okay if it were artistic, but oh yeah, Comey was testifying. I saw that before Congress. I mean, at this point, he's just sort of smug, right? He's up there thumbing his nose at Lindsey Graham, who I don't actually really care for either. But I don't know what's going to happen to James Comey. Are they going to do anything to James Comey? I would really like to see Durham indict Hunter Biden. It was crazy to me last night that Joe Biden was saying, oh, that's not true. All that stuff about my son doing cocaine, getting kicked out of the Navy. It is true. There's tons of evidence of that. And he had a problem, but he got over it. I don't think that's correct. I think he had a problem with stealing money. And he's not over that yet. So yeah, there's not that much that I want to say about Swigert v. Goodman. It's ongoing right now. It is. The judge issued an order the other day. The plaintiff in this case sent a notice of related litigation with the Emmys suit, and the judge immediately responded that notice was irrelevant because the same judge has been assigned to Emmys v. Multimedia System Design that is overseeing Swigert v. Goodman. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see, what is really going on. A lot of people have noted that it's their opinion that the Emmys must have sued my corporation because they know I can't defend a corporation pro se, and that was yet another strategic lawfare move intended to jam me up and to prevent me an opportunity from fairly defending myself. Obviously everybody's going to take whatever kind of strategic advantage they can get for themselves, but I just want to point out that when you bring a frivolous lawsuit against somebody when you have a lot of money and they don't, and you bring a frivolous lawsuit against them for something that they did not do, and you make false statements to third parties to get their YouTube channels shut down, that's just scumbag behavior. If you got a legitimate gripe, we can sort it out. But all this underhanded stuff is not going to be allowed to stand. And the thing with the Emmys is I can't do it pro se. So I need the support of the viewers in the audience. And this is also one of the reasons why I've created this new show that takes people deep inside the anti-speech strategy of Robert David Steele. I have reason to believe that the Emmy lawsuit is connected. And all of that is going to come out in the pleadings. I mean, some of it has already been pled. We'll go through every one of these pleadings in Steele v. Goodman, and people are going to understand what happened, get some insights into the different orders from the judge, and I'll be sharing my insights of how the parties behaved in court. There was one in-person hearing with lawyers for the plaintiff and lawyers for the co-defendant, Patricia Negron. Very interesting what happened with Patricia Negron in this case. The whole thing is interesting. So people should tune in, $5 a month. By the way, it's, not just charging more. People get additional value when they become subscribers at $5 a month or higher. You're going to get access to the Discord chat, which it's its own burgeoning community of people who want to enjoy some interaction with people who aren't trolls. Or at least not to the extent that they are on YouTube. And I do apologize to the people who have subscribed at $2 and want to see this Robert David Steele versus Jason Goodman series, breaking down the details of the dismissed and closed case. So, it was not on a technicality. It is closed. Steele v. Goodman is done. And they're saying, oh, Jason didn't win. Well, they're trying to sue me. I'm trying to defend myself, and the lawsuit ended. So I'm counting that as winning. It's a simplification for people to wrap their brains around. I don't know that I've ever actually seen this movie, but I love the poster, and it's such a great idea. I wish it would have been in 3D. I think it was made right around the time that they were stopping making 3D movies. Boy, doesn't that look like Bill Clinton? How many bags can you fit in your car? Body bags. Hey, US fans there. Boy, it's real windy. There's another Verizon truck. There is such a huge increase in the amount of fiber being installed around the city. A lot of people say, oh, it's 5G, it's 5G. I don't think so. I think they're just building up their bandwidth, their internet infrastructure within New York City, because I think they're expecting tons and tons of people to be doing video conferencing and remote working and everybody wants more bandwidth. So it almost seems as if Verizon had a lead on this to get it all installed. They've been installing this stuff since the first day of the pandemic. It's pretty wild. White Street. Let's check out the comments. I hope people will share this video. It's still, the videos aren't getting the type of uptake that they normally do because the president of television has struck the video and is not wanting people to watch crowdsource the truth. Sam Rick says troll money is still money. Yeah, but I'm not interested in getting money from trolls, and I don't want trolls in the chat on the show because they're trying to do things. They put in nasty comments. They say like, "Oh, $2, I'm paying $2 and you want $5." Listen, the fact of the matter is, I think that most decent, kind people who support the show, if they see a show on there that is $5 and they're paying $2, I don't think that they generally go into the mode of posting rude comments, that they're unsubscribing and they hate me. That seems strange to me. I would think, oh, look at that. ABG Industries with the crazy double bird on there. That's the same thing as the tattoo on George Floyd's chest. That's interesting. Show that to the bishop. I hope people saw Bishop Gator's episode yesterday. He's doing just awesome shows, and now the bishop is really growing in popularity. So see, there's people who want to get on there and make rude comments. I'm not saying you have to like and listen to every single person, but what is up with this, having to make some counter message for everybody that I have on the show? It just doesn't seem like the type of thing that normal people do. It's antagonistic. It's ridiculous. I think for the most part, if you don't like the bishop, just turn off the show or go make your own show. And yeah, I guess they'll say that's what they're doing. They're presenting their evidence, their information. The problem is the evidence that they present is never factual, at least what I've seen. They make stuff up and they put it out there because that is confusing to people, and it's injecting, false information, disinformation. I've seen a lot of people do this in a lot of different ways. Somebody says Pharaoh. I don't know what you mean. Oh yeah, listen twice. Yes, Catherine. Or Chicky Rogue, listen twice. Yeah, sometimes you do have to listen to the bishop twice because he's moving like 500 miles an hour and he's got so much information there. So we're at Church Street here, getting close to the courthouse. Oh, here's the NSA building. 33 Thomas Street. Been by that a bunch of times. It's warming up. It's 63 now. Hey, Nokia. I agree, the bishop is great. But look, nobody is going to like everybody. So some people don't like the show, that's fine. I just don't understand why they would do anything other than turn it off if they dislike it. Getting into the comments and actively writing crappy things, that's not the same as if somebody did a professionally produced, or at least, put in a good effort to make it as, nice as it could be and had actual information, sure. I'm not saying you can't do that. I don't see that. I see people putting out lies and persistently repeating the same lies and never presenting any evidence and using fake names and sock puppet accounts, accusing me of using sock puppets when that's not something that I've done, and they have no evidence of that. They're just putting more vexatious filings into the court. I always think a dog like that has got to be super hot. If I feel hot, this guy's super furry. So let's see, I got to make a left here. There we go. All right, so we're getting close to the end of this live stream because obviously I can't bring this equipment into the courthouse. I'm gonna have to check it. Trinity Boxing. Fight the good fight. Yeah, so people are opening gyms now, but you gotta wear the mask in the gym. What's gonna happen when the first person has a heart attack from wearing a mask in a gym? Or has that happened yet? I wonder. Oh yeah, people can see no more lens flare. Thanks to Rossmann Repair for fixing this. They did a great job. I like Louis Rossmann. He put out a video last night about his customer service policy, which is being nice to people until they cross a line, and then he goes New York on them. I like that policy because that's essentially the same policy I have. I try to be nice. When people aren't nice to me, they get not nice right back. And I can be not nice if it's required. So, let's see. I think they're there. That's the courthouse right up ahead. So you sometimes get a little bit turned around coming down here. It's kind of all the federal buildings, and also we have that African burial ground memorial. I think it's one block to the, maybe I passed it. Oh no, I think it's right up there. City Hall is right over that way. I wonder what's going on over there. You remember the mayor had decided he was gonna close City Hall for a week to save $27 million. I mean, that is ridiculous. $27 million doesn't seem like it's gonna do much of anything. He probably could just fire unnecessary people and do a better job and save $27 million in one day. Or also, didn't his wife lose $800 million? Where's that? There's the Jacob Javits Federal Building. Not to be confused with the Jacob Javits Convention Center. Wow, I just almost twisted my ankle on that loose brick where they built the hospital. Okay, I think this is the African burial ground. Yeah. National Monument. And Bishop was talking about this yesterday. We didn't really go back to too much of the information that we've spoken about before, but we've got this really bizarre sigil over here. Huh, it looks like it's fenced off now. That's the first time I've seen that. I've been down here a bunch of times. Wow, you're not allowed to go in there. Huh. All right, I guess we won't see that sigil. That's interesting. So, see, this is what's happening. They're clamping down the city harder, even though the number of people dying from coronavirus continues to go down. They're reporting on, John Cullen spoke about this quite a lot. People can watch John Cullen Investigates on Fridays. We're actually going to have a very special episode of John Cullen Investigates tomorrow, October 1st, the third memorial of the Las Vegas October 1st, 2017 shooting. John has, I don't even want to hint because it is going to blow people's minds. So you're going to want to get on to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and Patreon and Subscribestar/I am John Cullen to see that show tomorrow. But it's a really good time for people to join on Patreon and Subscribestar. Catch all the great sponsor exclusive shows. Yes, the other thing. So there's been this recent problem with Vimeo. They've started taking down certain videos and adopting some of the policies about, you can't question the WHO and this and that and the other thing that basically give them carte blanche to do whatever they want. So I am in the process of building, not me personally, but I've hired a company to create a private video host that will replace Vimeo for to sponsor exclusive shows. And that is really expensive. So I also need your support and sponsorship to do that. If you watch the show and want it to keep going, please become a sponsor. And I mean, for as long as it remains financially viable, I'm going to keep the $2 sponsorships around. But it's, you know, hosting, all that, the economics are changing. So I hope people will stay with us. I hope people will watch. I'm going to try to get that second episode of Deep Inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy out today. I got to get with Charles after I drop off these documents and figure out what we're going to do now that this guest had to reschedule. But I will be back later today. Thank you to everybody who's been chatting in the comments and saying hello and whatnot. Howdy, someone says. Kelly Jean, hi. Okay, no sirens blaring. No, so that's a good morning, huh? All right, I'm going to head into the courthouse here. I'll see everybody later. Thanks for watching. Have a great afternoon.